Namaste everyone, I am Gyan and you are watching the third session of Java and Wave, Flow of Control. In this video, we will learn about the continuous statement in Java. The continuous statement is skip the current iteration and continue with the next one. Look at this program. We have integer variable I is equal to 0 and we have the while loop where we are checking if I is less than equal to 5 or not. The 0 is less than 5. So the loop body gets executed. Inside the loop body, we are checking if I is equal to 2 or not. 0 is not equal to 2. That's how the if body does not execute. We need to print system.out.println I, which prints 0, and then we have to execute I++. So I incremented to 1. After that, we are checking if 1 is less than equal to 5 or not. 1 is less than 5. So while body gets executed again. But 1 is not equal to 2. So if body does not execute. We need to print 1 and the new value of I will be 2. Again we are checking if 2 is less than equal to 5 or not. The 2 is less than 5. So while body executes. We are checking if 2 is equal to 2 or not. The 2 is equal to 2. So if body executes. Inside the if body we are incrementing the value of I and then we execute the continuous statement. I becomes 3 here and then we have to execute the continue. When the Java encounters the continuous statement, it stops the execution of the current iteration and continue with the other iteration. So all the statements after the continue will be skipped for the current iteration. And the execution of the while continue its next iteration with I is equal to 3. Since 3 is less than equal to 5 and 3 not equal to 2, that's how these two statements gets executed. And like this it prints 0, 1, 3, 4, 5. It does not print 2 because when the I was 2, the continue statement encountered and that iteration in which I was 2 got skipped and the while continued with its next iteration. This is a task for you to apply this program in a Java code. And one thing you do, you remove the I++ from the if body and then again execute and see what the compiler is saying. The continuous statement cannot be used with the switch case. Try to use the continuous statement with the switch case and see what the compiler is saying. Here we are using the continuous statement within the nested loop. Whenever the Java encounters I is equal to j, then continuous statement executes. So if I is equal to 0 and j is equal to 0, then the continuous statement will execute. Whenever the Java encounters the continuous statement, the current iteration of the inner loop will be skipped. And after that, the inner loop will continue its next iteration. So whenever I is equal to j, the system.out.println statement will not execute and we will not print the current value of I and j. So it does not print when I is equal to 0 and j is equal to 0. It does not print when I is equal to 1 and j is equal to 1. And finally, it does not print when I is equal to 2 and j is equal to 2. But this continuous statement will skip the current iteration of the inner loop only. If you want a continuous statement to skip the current iteration of the outer loop, then we have to go for the label continue. This is a task for you to figure out the output of this program. Like label break, we have the label continue. The label continue send the control to a label. You know that we can define a label for only blocks. And you know the block is body of the loop, body of the switch, body of if else. And the block is also area between two curly brackets. So here we are using the continue with a label if I is equal to j. Since we are using the continue with the label L1 and that L1 is for the outer loop. So whenever the statement continue L1 encountered by the Java, the outer loop skip its current iteration and continue with the next iteration. So program starts like this. We have integer I is equal to 0. Then after we have integer j is equal to 0. Here I is equal to j or not? Yes, I is equal to j. So continue L1. What happens here? The outer loop skip its current iteration and increment the value of I. So this print statement does not get printed for I is equal to 0 and j is equal to 0. I is equal to 0, j is equal to 1 and I is equal to 0, j is equal to 2. For I is equal to 1, we have again j is equal to 0. Is 1 is equal to 0? No. So we have printed I is equal to 1, j is equal to 0. The j increased to 1. We are checking if 1 is less than 3 or not. In this case, we have I is equal to 1 and j is equal to 1. So the statement continue L1 gets executed. Since the continue L1 statement gets executed, so the outer loop skip its rest of the current iteration. And I increased to 2. Now we check if 2 is less than 3 or not. 2 is less than 3. So the outer loop will execute. In the body of the outer loop, we have the inner loop. The value of j has been initialized to 0 and then we are checking if j is less than 3 or not. Since the 0 is less than 3, so the inner loop will execute. Now we are checking if I, which is 2, is equal to 0? The answer is no. That's how we print the current value of I and j, that is 2 and 0. After that again we increase the value of j and j becomes 1. Now we are checking if 1 is less than 3 or not. The 1 is less than 3. So the body of the inner while will execute. Here we are checking if current value of I, that is 2, is equal to the current value of j, that is 1. The answer is no. That's how we skip the continue statement and we need to execute the system.out.println current value of I and current value of j. It prints I is equal to 2 and j is equal to 1. After that j again gets increased and j becomes 2. We are checking if 2 is less than 3 or not. The answer is yes, 2 is less than 3. So the body of inner loop will again execute. In the body of the inner loop, again we are checking if the value of I and j are equal or not. Since I is equal to 2 and j is equal to 2, so both are equal now. That's how the statement continue L1 will execute. So the outer loop skip its current iteration and continue with the next iteration. When Java encounters the statement continue L1, it continues with the next iteration of the outer loop. It does not print the current value of I and j. That's how the value I is equal to 2 and j is equal to 2 does not get printed here. And the control goes to the next iteration of the outer loop. Here the new value of I gets incremented to 3 and 3 is not less than 3. That's how outer loop comes to an end. The level continue statement only makes sense with the loop body. With the other type of block we cannot use the level continue. Here we are using the level continue statement with the block which is not a loop. So this is an error. Compiler throws the error, not a loop. We can use the continue statement with the do while also. You can see here we have the integer variable x is equal to 0. Then we increase the value of x to 1. Now we are printing the 1. If plus x is less than 5, that means increment will occur first and then we will check if the result of the increment is less than 5 or not. Plus x results in 2. We are checking 2 is less than 5 or not. Since 2 is less than 5, so it executes continue. When the Java encounters the continue statement, it stops the current iteration and continue with the next one. So the Java stops the current iteration and check if plus x is less than 10 or not. The x is already 2 here. Now x becomes 3. If 3 is less than 10, yes 3 is less than 10, then again we have to execute this loop. In the first statement here the 3 becomes 4 and we are printing the 4. Now we are checking if the 4 plus 1, the increment will occur first. We are checking if 5 is less than 5 or not. The 5 is not less than 5. So we come next and 5 has been increased to 6. So here we are printing the 6. The iteration completes and we are checking again. First the 6 increased to 7 and then we are checking the 7 is less than 10 or not. 7 is less than 10. So the do while body executes again. In this statement 7 increased to 8 and then we are printing the 8. Finally here we are checking if 9 is less than 5 or not. X first increased to 9, then we are checking the 9 is less than 5 or not. 9 is not less than 5. So we come to this statement. 9 increased to 10 and then we are printing the 10. And then we come to this condition. We are checking if the 10 plus 1, that is 11, is less than 10 or not. The 11 is not less than 10. That's how this loop gets finished and the program comes out of this loop. That's all for this video guys. Don't forget to like and share this video, subscribe this channel if you are new and leave your valuable comments in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.